Hey you guys, I wanted to do a bigger reading for the lunar eclipse, full moon going into the equinox to get a much bigger look at the energies. So I haven't been doing my daily card the last few days because number one, I ended up purging unexpectedly, and number two, I wanted to do this instead. So this right here is focused on the divine masculine, focused on the divine feminine, and then the energy of the connection. That's where I started with 3 different tarot decks because I wanted to differentiate the energies that way. It's funny too because I barely use these 2 angel tarot decks anymore, but when I opened them up, the scent came back like an old friend. So yeah, that's where I started my focus on. Before I added a bazillion other cards around them, you could really see the moon and the moon. But in any case, I ended up also pulling from my Akashic Records spread, my Oracle of the 7 Energies, and my Twin Flame Oracle for additional insight. So this is like Divine Feminine side, Divine Masculine side, and the connection overall. Okay. I also wanted to talk real quick because, like I said, I didn't expect to purge. I very rarely purge these days. I've been in such a surrendered state for the last year or two that purging comes up totally randomly and unexpectedly. I don't know, 2 or 3 times a year. I think that this time it was because it was a supermoon and a lunar eclipse, maybe even the equinox also, and we're going into the eclipse gateway. So it caught me by surprise. And I wanted to talk about this because I really gained a greater understanding of navigating our way through the purges in the healthiest way possible. And so I wanted to put it into words to help you guys also. So, of course, when the purge came up, especially because I don't purge frequently anymore, I felt like I thought I was fine with this. I thought I let this go, released it fully. So I was surprised to get so caught up in emotions over something that I thought I made peace with a long time ago. Obviously, there were deeper layers, or the way I actually was having the thought process of, I don't think these are repressed emotions. I think that I set it aside for a later time, but they just wanted to rear their ugly head right then. Navigating Monday night and all day Tuesday was tough because I kept crying. I couldn't stop crying because I was releasing those emotions. And I ended up journaling essentially. I wrote it as if I was writing a letter to my twin, but I was essentially journaling and getting out how I felt. And it was amazing how much better I felt once I simply did that. So that, for one, it felt clear that was an important step in the process for the purging for me. I needed to say how I felt. Even though I'm not sending him those messages, I needed to say how I felt. And once I did, I felt better. So keep that in mind as one option. I am going to be sending him a message because Spirit has been guiding me to write one for a couple months now. But when I write this, I am going to touch on those feelings, but not in the way that I journaled about them. When I touch on those emotions, I'm going to be coming from not the ego center. I'm going to be coming from my higher self, explaining my perspective on some certain things to him so that he can understand how certain things affect me, because I know that he doesn't realize it at all. I know that he is 100% oblivious to it. And I have chosen for a while to set it aside and not address it until the time was right to address it. And basically, Spirit was guiding me that the time is right to address it. But how I go about that is very important. And actually, that's another kind of side topic as well, because I have certainly seen plenty of divine feminines when they're triggered and they're upset and they're purging, they can go on the attack, because these emotions are coming up: rage, sadness, depression, kind of sadness. Anyway, you know the gist. And they end up projecting those emotions out at either other people or at their twin. Like, sometimes they'll send messages to their twin and you'll be pointing the finger and saying, and just, I can't even say accusing, because I'm sure that they are in fact actually acting that way, but, kind of yelling at them about it. And when you do that, you are provoking your twin's own core wounds, feeling unworthy, and potentially, most likely, causing setbacks for them, because they're going to withdraw. Like, when you're yelling at them, they feel under attack and they're going to withdraw. And that's going to, it might cause them to do shadow work, but it's not going to cause them to, like, you want them to turn around and be like, I'm so sorry, and, start taking action to make up for it. But they're not going to do that. They're going to withdraw and they're going to pull back, because they're not going to want to make effort when they feel attacked. That's how divine masculines operate. Whether you like it or not, they do not operate the way society says that they should. That's how they operate, okay? So I have always been extremely careful about not provoking my twin flames' core wounds, and instead helping to, what are the words? Helping to encourage his healing and his metamorphosis process, and just always, like I said before, finding the best way and right way to say things as guided by my higher self, to bring his attention to things without coming across as attacking or pointing fingers or anything like that. And I also am careful about the timing of when I do those things. So I knew when I was purging and I was upset that I could not say something to him then. That even if I started to write the message that Spirit had been guiding me to do, I needed to wait until I was in the right energy to do so. And I'm going to do that. I haven't done it yet. But so that was one aspect of it. Journaling to release what needs to come out. That's why it's coming up, so that it can come out and can be let go. And I'm not surprised, because I had seen all over that the lunar eclipse was going to have the divine feminines feeling like that, lo and behold. And then the other thing, like I said, is being cognizant of how you address your twin while you're feeling that way. So the other thing that I think I was able to consciously realize and think my way through more so this time than any previous time that I've purged was how to handle the emotions and how to heal them and integrate them. So basically, once I journaled and I started to feel better, I was able to consciously think my way through it and understand, why I was feeling that way. And rather than feel reactive anymore, because I had released it, to instead use it in a positive way and to go in a positive direction by, for one, like I said, preparing the message that I am going to send him in the right words, but also for myself in being able to reframe things. You actually, in a way, are releasing that core wound by being able to reframe it and understand it from a different perspective, and being able to integrate the emotions, understanding them instead of allowing them to control you. It's super hard to explain. Oh, hold on. I think the best way to say it is like analyzing, okay, you feel this way because of this. Your twin is acting this way because of this, from his perspective. And you want to honor how you're feeling, give it the attention that it needs, but not allow it to control you. And so that is how you can integrate the emotions and heal them. Make sense? I don't want to keep going on about this, but just to summarize that one more time, when you're in the midst of the purging, you do need to allow yourself to feel it and release it and get it out, because that's the only, otherwise it stays as repressed emotions. It stays as something that's bottled up inside, bothering you, even if you don't realize it. So it is necessary to allow yourself to feel it, and then you can let it go. And then as you are letting it go, as you're releasing it, then you start to come back to yourself. You start to find your balance again and become grounded again. And then you can consciously think your way through it and understand, instead of allowing the emotions to control you, then you can consciously understand, okay, this is how I felt. This is why I felt this way. It's coming from this behavior from my twin. This is why my twin is acting that way. I am not going to project anger or whatever at my twin. I'm not going to be reactive towards him. Instead, I am going to honor how I feel, do what I need to do for myself pertaining to whatever it is, the reason why you're upset, and then find the best and most appropriate way to handle it or address it with your twin. That might mean waiting. That might mean setting it aside for now until the right time to address it in the future. Or if you are intuitively guided to, you can, bring it up in whatever way that you best communicate with your twin. Now, it's very important that whatever you communicate to your twin and however you do it, it must come from your intuition. It cannot come from your ego center. If it's coming from your ego center and it's emotionally charged or emotionally driven, you're going to cross into that line of provoking wounds because you're not approaching it from the right perspective. It is absolutely necessary that when you communicate with your twin, especially about something that is a challenge or a struggle that you're dealing with in the connection, you must come from your higher self and your intuition in how you formulate your words and how you best express it. And think of it also in terms of working on creating healthy behaviors, healthy communication, and a healthy foundation for the future to build upon for union. Because when you're in union, you shouldn't be having unhealthy patterns in your relationship. It's still a real relationship. It's not like you're never going to fight or have struggles, but you should be able in union, that you can be with your twin and not be in union, and many people are and they don't realize that, and they're calling it union when it's not. But in union, you should be able to have a healthy relationship. You should be able to communicate and not, attack each other, and not, even if you have some misunderstandings, you should be able to talk about it and work through them. You should be able to listen to each other and hear each other, because you have that amount of love and respect for each other, rather than attacking and not hearing the other person. Understand? So you need to start incorporating that into your communication now, and whenever you are guided to address anything for any reason. Okay? So I hope that's everything that I wanted to talk about. And I hope it helped. Oh my God, can I talk? I hope it helps you guys. Now, let me get into the reading. Even though it's a lot of cards, they're straightforward, and this shouldn't take me that long. I'll probably go into a third video because I only have 5 minutes left of this one, but it still shouldn't take that long. So let's get into this lunar eclipse reading and see what the heck's going on. There is a ton of mirroring in this reading, and I love it. With the Divine Masculine energy, both of these are messenger cards or communication cards. On the Divine Feminine side, these are both messenger cards, communication cards. You have the world here and the world here. You have justice and justice. You have so many synchronicities. The Soul Tribe card is out in multiple places. And just tons and tons of mirroring, which I just love when Spirit does that with the cards too, because it makes perfect sense. So I asked what, for both the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine separately, I asked, what is the lunar eclipse bringing up for the Divine Feminine or the Divine Masculine, and how are they feeling? That's what I focused on first. After I moved on from that, I focused on how did I word it? It was about where is the eclipse gateway bringing them? Oh my gosh, that's not how I worded it, but it was basically like, it was more action oriented, like what's going to happen? What is the eclipse gateway going to instigate, so to speak, in the terms of the next steps in the connection, okay? So with the Divine Masculine side, first of all, remember this is, how the lunar eclipse is, what it's bringing up for them and how they're feeling. So this 5 of Fire and this 8 of Air is talking about how the masculines have been stuck for a long time. They've been stuck in these situations that have been blocking their progress. And in this case, I do feel that these are karmic situations that are part of these journeys. Not all Divine Masculines have complicated karmic situations, but I do feel that in this case, okay? But it's not just the karmic situations blocking them from moving forward. It's also their own self-limiting beliefs and their own inner blocks. And that's where the 5 of Fire comes in. It's the inner conflicts that they've been having in themselves, like inner conflicts with it's not about how they feel about you, okay? It's about the process of releasing the 3D conditioning. Like, look at what I was saying about, a normal, or what society teaches us about how a normal partner should act. But a Divine Masculine does not act that way because of their wounds, because of their avoidant attachment disorder, and their other issues. That's the same thing here. It's them working through the process of releasing the 3D conditioning of what society has taught them of how things should be. So they've had this inner conflict over what to do, how to do it, how to handle the situation. And they've been stuck. They've been stuck allowing themselves to not be able to overcome the karmics. And they've been stuck in these limiting beliefs and 3D conditioning that's held them back. But they have been they can't stop thinking about you, Divine Feminines. They can't stop looking to you because you are the beacon to them. Like, they see you just like in so much strength and power, and they're so amazed by you, and you inspire them, and you lead them even when you don't realize that you're leading them, for them to claim their power, claim their sovereignty, find their confidence to be able to break free from their karmic situations and move forward. The inspiration has been there. It's just been, they've had to build up to the strength to be able to do so, to find that lion within, to have the courage and the strength to take these steps. Communication. They want to communicate with you. They want to tell you how they really feel. They want to take the next steps with you. There might be bumps along the way. It might not be an easy process. They might stumble. They might not communicate when you want them to, but they are going to. They have been thinking about it for a long ass time, and they are going to when they're fully in their strength and ready to, when they have summoned the courage to. They're thinking about it nonstop, and they are going to. Now, remember I said, what is the eclipse bringing up here? Completion of cycles. So the cycles, the struggles that have been holding them back in this energy is coming to a completion. So they're going to be able to leave all this in the past and take the right steps to move forward, to bring justice to you in this connection, to move in the new direction and fix things with you. Go to the next video now. I do want to caution and say here that the completion of these cycles may or may not lead to immediate action, but the completion of the cycles can align the action to take place. It can align the circumstances and the events and the energies so that the action can then happen for this to move forward. Now, on the Divine Feminine side, so the Divine Masculines are working through those remaining inner blocks and karmic blocks. The Divine Feminines are having those emotions, just like I talked about what happened with me. They're having those emotions come up. You know, the Feminines, they've been courageous in how they've handled this journey and gotten through day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And they have persevered through a lot. And it hasn't always been easy. Over the course of the process, over the course of their healing and surrendering, some emotions may have gotten repressed unwittingly, unknowingly, not intentionally. Well, this lunar eclipse was like, it's time to get those out. We need to get rid of anything that can potentially hold you back in any way, anything that's no longer serving you. So, Divine Feminines, a lot of you would have been feeling that those emotions coming up to be released, just like I was talking about what happened to me. And Spirit is calling on you while you're feeling this way. Rest. Take time for yourself. And maybe you already have been lately anyway. I know I had a cycle for the last year and a half that Spirit was guiding me to focus on self-care. So you might not have even been as focused on your twin flame journey anyway, because Spirit was redirecting you to focus on yourself instead of focusing on your twin. Like, your twin got to a place where they were ready to not run from the connection and instead focus on the inner work that they needed to. So once your twin made that decision, Spirit was kind of like, okay, you don't need to focus on your twin anymore right now. You just need to focus on yourself. So you might have been in that energy anyway. And this is just a continuation of that for when you're purging. So have that focus on yourself right now. While purging, while releasing these emotions, you are also feeling like you're feeling a little fed up. Let's be honest. When those emotions are coming out, the frustration, the anger, whatever it may be, you are like, you know what? I want to choose me now. I don't want to be stuck anymore. I don't want to be in limbo anymore. And you do want that freedom of choice. But trust me when I tell you that once you release those emotions, you're going to come back to the balance within, and you're not going to want freedom from your twin. However, you are going to have that shift in focus to, okay, I love my twin. I'm holding space for my twin, but I also need to choose myself sometimes. I also need to do what's right for me in this moment. I also need to focus on my self-care or whatever it may be. So honor what it is that you need for yourself. That doesn't mean you're giving up on your twin. It just simply means that you're not focusing only on what your twin is doing, and you're not focusing on trying to control the journey or control what your twin is going to do. You're basically, your focus is just not on your twin. You are lovingly, unconditionally holding space for your twin while shifting the focus to yourself and what you need to do for yourself in your life. Okay? Now, once again, messenger, I already showed you this. You want your twin to come in with communication, taking action, and telling you how they feel. As I was talking about, you may be guided by your higher self to give your twin some communication as well. Like I said, it must come from your intuition. It must come from your higher guidance. It cannot come from the ego center. If you do, go ahead. Extend that communication as you are guided to, and be the beacon for your twin. Be the lighthouse. Continue to help guide him. And whether that is like literally or symbolically. But also, this is, if you are not meant to send messages, this is Spirit saying, trust that it's coming. You're mirroring it. You both want to have this conversation. In fact, I would say that you both intuitively know that this conversation is coming, that it needs to happen. Because look, it's in the same spot, double cards, same spot for both of you. I think that you both know that you need to have this conversation and it's coming. And so it's just a matter of time. And you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to stress about it. You don't need to be like anxious, wondering, when is this going to happen? Trust that it's going to happen and then detach and allow it to unfold when it needs to. These are your own cycles coming to completion. These are your own struggles with anxiety, with control, with whatever the traumas are that have caused you to get caught up in the ego center at time, or have caused you to get caught up in whatever the repressed emotions are, or if it's anxiety from the trying to control things. But Spirit is guiding you to releasing those cycles so that you can come into that better place within, focusing on yourself. And then you will be ready because you're coming into, that's part of your process of coming into inner union. So you're both closing out cycles that have been holding you back. For him, for your twin, it's been holding him back in terms of taking the action steps that he needs to. And for you, it's been holding you back in terms of blocking you from inner union. Now you have the Tower over here. So out with the old and with the new, I did tell you, you guys are shedding anything that's not meant for you anymore. I see this even more so and mostly as expect the unexpected. Anything can happen. I mean, I don't think these divine feminines, I don't think you guys are going to have something negative happen here. You know, if you are still in a situation yourself that would cause, that a tower could cause a negative event, then you're not ready. Like, you're not that close to inner union yet anyway. You still have karmic situations you're working on. So this would be positive, unexpected events. Like, Spirit really emphasizes expect the unexpected a lot. So this to me feels a lot more like your twin's going to surprise you. They're going to show up one day and everything's going to change and you're not going to see it coming. Spirit doesn't give time frames on union. If you get a time frame for union, it's not union, and or it will change, because Spirit doesn't give time frames for union. You're not supposed to know. So just be mentally prepared for that day when all of a sudden everything's going to change unexpectedly. And you know what? I honestly think it's for the best. I used to get caught up in wanting to know everything going on, and it took me a long time to release time frames. Now, I don't want to know, because if I know too much and if I have an expectation in my head around time frames or around something specific happening, then if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be disappointed. I don't want to know anymore. I don't want to have those expectations. I want to be surprised. If I have the expectations, then that's the opportunity for doubt to come in and be like, oh, well, it's not going to happen this time. Just like all the other times that you were told something that was going to happen, or something along those lines. It's much better for me mentally and being prepared spiritually and emotionally to not know and to allow it to be a surprise. Okay, I'm going to continue, but I need to get some of these out of the way so that I can see the rest of the cards clearly. So give me a second. Okay, Divine Feminines, Spirit is asking you to be patient with your masculines. Let them work through their remaining shadow work through your own dark nights of the soul, and allow your twin to, as needed, know that it's serving a higher purpose, and just be patient with them. Hold space for them right now. They need to go through this. You don't want them to come to you before they're ready and they still have more of this to work through. It can just end up in another separation. So be patient with them. Spirit is calling on them to learn how to get away from fear-based communication and be able to have healthier communication with you. And Spirit is working on them to quiet the mind, let go of the 3D conditioning, and connect with Spirit more. And Spirit is working on them to find the courage to take a leap of faith, to move in a new direction, even if they don't know exactly what to do. It's all part of their spiritual rebirth process, okay? Okay, continue to one more video. Divine Feminine, Spirit wants you to trust your twin flame signs. These came out together even though I separated them. Trust your guidance. Trust your intuition. Trust the signs that Spirit is sending you to reassure you that, yes, this really is your twin flame. Yes, this is a twin flame connection and journey. No, you're not crazy. Yeah, it goes up against everything you've been taught to believe, all of the 3D conditioning, but you're supposed to let that go and release it. It's a struggle. It's a painful process releasing the 3D conditioning. It's time to trust your higher self, trust your spirit guides, trust the signs that are being given to you. If you don't need them anymore, great. But if you do, pay attention and trust them. Let go of your pride and ego and let go of focusing on, well, he should act like this if he feels this way or that way or whatever. And I'm going to be mad at him because he's not acting how I want him to. Let it go. Focus on understanding from his perspective why he behaves the way he is. Sorry if I'm using he all the time. Mine is a he. I know not everyone's is a he, okay? I can't help it. It's just like how I talk. But yeah, focus on understanding your twin psychologically, why they behave the way they do, and have understanding for that. They are evolving and healing and changing, and they will get better. And you will be able to have healthy conversations about this stuff in the future. Don't get stuck on it. Don't get stuck in your ego center, and don't allow pride to block you. Trust in your signs and focus on raising your vibration to that higher, big picture perspective, understanding everything spiritually, and not letting the 3D or ego block your way. Spirit wants you to see beyond the illusions of the 3D world and the conditioning of the 3D world. See the bigger picture. Focus on the vision of union and the outcome. Focus on the spiritual perspective and see beyond the 3D. See beyond the physical and what we're taught to believe, because we are also, over the course of this journey, forced into that blind faith and trust. So no, you're not crazy, but you do have to step into blind faith and trust, okay? Focus on grounding yourself and connecting with spirit regularly to keep yourself balanced and in those higher vibrations. This is how you're going to stay in those higher vibrations, okay? And look, double cards here. Focus on connecting with your soul tribe. Your soul tribe is who is going to help you through everything, is who is meant to be part of your journey and your life purpose path. It's meant to help you blossom and grow, meant as you spiritually rebirth yourself. You're rebirthing yourself also. You're pushing the new version of yourself down your spiritual birth canal, and it hurts like hell, but you're going to come out the other side. And these are the people who are meant to be around you, helping you, guiding you, supporting you. And sometimes soul tribe members, soul group members, sometimes there's also karmic cycles that need to be healed and released there also. So that's another reason why we'll be guided to them as well. But don't focus on that. Focus on the positives and finding those connections of the people who are meant to be in your life. Here we are again. Queen of Forces, Queen of Scrolls. Queen of Forces is like that Queen of Fire, Queen of Wands in the beginning on the Divine Masculine side. He's focused on his Queen of Wands, Queen of Forces. And another Balance card, which can be considered a Justice card, can also be considered a Temperance card. Focus on your inner what? Focus on your inner journey right now, not your inner jerk. Let go of the inner jerk. You are coming into your power as a spiritual powerhouse who can manifest the life you deserve and desire, and who can use your spiritual gifts and abilities. And you're also rebirthing yourself, integrating your higher self, becoming this new version of yourself. And you are just moving in a new, amazingly beautiful and powerful direction for your individual journey. You're coming into balance, and focus on maintaining that balance in your energy, trusting that justice will be served in this connection, and focus on maintaining that temperance in your life, trusting in divine timing, trusting in divine alignment of everything. So you're focusing on your side of the journey right now to truly embodying and becoming who you're meant to be and the path you're meant to take, and staying balanced as you go. I forgot, feminines, you are also, the Queen of Hearts kind of goes along with the Queen of Scrolls there. You are, Spirit wants you to focus on connecting to your intuition, connecting to your higher self and your spirit team, and leaning into that, letting your higher self and your intuition lead and not the ego center. And also work on balancing your feminine and masculine energy. Focus on the feminine energy here, but you need a balance between the two anyway, okay? And a lot of times the divine feminines get caught up in masculine energy just because they're usually on their own going about their lives, and it requires a lot of masculine energy. But focus on being in your feminine energy too, to be in balance for when your twin does return. Your twin is being called to make authentic, heart-centered choices for themselves, to let go of the confusion of the past. They're not confused. They're not confused about what they want. They're not confused about who they love. They just need to let go of that like inner struggle of the 3D world versus, actually, here it is too, there's two worlds. They have to let go, or they're in the process of letting go of that struggle between the 3D world that they've grown up in and their twin flame journey, 5D spiritual path, soul path. It's extra hard for the masculines because they don't live in their upper chakras and they don't live in their spiritual centers. They live down here in the real world in the 3D, and it's a struggle for them to let that go. So Spirit is saying, you're not confused. You know what's right for you. You know what's meant for you. You can't deny it. It's time to make those authentic, heart-centered choices for yourself, masculines. It's time to make yourself happy. It's time to bring joy into your life. And it's time to make that commitment to yourself and to your divine feminine and to come into sacred union. That's where Spirit is pushing them. And that's this lunar eclipse, and this eclipse gateway is bringing them revelations around all of this. Okay, so lastly, the energy of the connection that the eclipse gateway is leading you guys down. Spirit is acknowledging with the 7 of trees that they know that this has been a long time coming. A long time coming. The seeds of this connection, they haven't just been planted a long time ago in this lifetime. They've been planted lifetimes ago. Ascension cycles ago. This has been a long time coming, and you've been so patient. But it's always been assured. It's always been promised. You just have to have complete faith and trust. Your masculine is stepping into his power and is learning how to connect to the Akashic field and to Spirit. Spirit is guiding them to connect to their intuition and let Spirit lead and get out of their way with the ego center and the 3D, distracting them. And they are being guided to take the steps, to move in a new direction, to balance the scales with you, to make things right, to bring justice here. You guys are in the process of ascending. Your masculine is being guided through leaps and bounds, and you're moving in the direction of creating that family and that life together that you're meant to have. Another soul tribe card. But you know what? I do sometimes treat this as a union card as well. Sorry, something is freaking itching. So we could see this a bit repetitive as, connect with your soul tribe and focus on that for now in the meantime. But this can also represent union, and add some represents union and everything coming together for sure. So, take it how it resonates. But, shockingly, Spirit gave 2 time frame cards when I told you Spirit doesn't give time frames for union. So it looks like the fall starting like Sunday and the winter are going to be significant for a lot of you. You'll have milestones. There will be unions. It's different for everybody, but take that as it resonates. Then this is the first card that came out when I asked what the Eclipse Gateway holds. New beginnings, taking the leap of faith, the opportunities to move forward, to follow your hearts, to come together. You're going to have your pick for what path to take moving forward in union. Your twin is going to make the effort towards you. They're going to put in the work now. They're going to tell you how they really feel and that they're ready to make the commitment here. The arrival at your goals and dreams coming true. And this is a straight up union card, like straight up. This was like a final thought from this deck. So I loved that Spirit ended on that. And the last thought from Spirit is simply have recognition of the awe and amazingness of spirit at work in your lives and just enjoy it. And be amazed at spirit at work in your lives and how everything magically comes together.